Yes, started, Prabhuji. Just started.
Ready?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, by the instruction of our Shiksha Guru, His Grace Rubraj Prabhuji, and because of non-availability of Gokuleshwar Prabhuji, so I have been given this opportunity to talk about something about basics of Bhagavad Gita. So, Prabhuji, my voice is audible, clear?
Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, I will take this opportunity to discuss something about Bhagavad Gita. So, Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeyam Sri Guru Sri Uttapad Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavansho Sri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां सहगण ललिता से विशाखावितांशो हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। हिज ग्रेस रुद्रनाथ प्रभु जी की जय। हिज होलीनेस गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। समस्त भक्त बिंद की जय। समस्त वैष्णव बिंद की जय। समस्त डिवोटीज की जय। माता जी प्रभु जी की जय। हरि बोल प्रभु जी। So as ordered or instructed by our Shiksha Guru, His Grace Rubala Prabhuji, and organized by Pandian Prabhuji, so I will try to fill this gap because His Grace Gokul Prabhuji is not available, and of course His Grace Rubala Prabhuji also, they are in the Vrindavan, and we requested them to pray for us. So Prabhuji, from last few days, rather when we started this Gopi Geet and Srimad Bhagavatam, so we have been very much fortunate to hear the nectarian katha from Srimad Bhagavatam by different Prabhuji like Gokuleshwar Prabhuji, Krishna Bhajan Prabhuji, Chakrabarti Prabhuji, and Gokuleshwar Prabhuji. And of course, the Gopi Geet, the most nectarian topic of Gopi Geet, we have been discussing by the mercy of His Grace Rubraj Prabhuji. So, this Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the commentary and the katha of devotees, katha of Lord, katha of incarnation of Lord. And our Shiksha Guru used to discuss and say that this Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary, while the Bhagavad Gita is the law book. So, after a gap of so many days and weeks, so I would like to discuss today something basics which I think you are aware. All the senior Vaishnavas or devotees may be aware, but it is just for the revision, purpose of revision. Because while discussing and taking the test of nectarian katha from Bhagavatam, we have to also revise the basic principles of Bhagavad Gita. So today, I would like to cover the basics of Gita, that is to know yourself. Who are you? Who are we? And then what is your mind, who is your mind, and how to control the mind. So these are the two basic things which I am going to cover today. And this is the purpose of this, to just to revise our, because this has been discussed many times and most of the devotees are aware, but some of the devotees may not be aware. And I would request them, those who are already knew the subject, to bear with me and to revise the things. And if some mistake is done, please tell me. And for the new devotees, of course, to learn the basics of Bhagavad Gita. So, to cover this topic, everything will depend upon by the work of Srila Prabhupada. Whatever we are going to discuss, I am going to discuss, is based on His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. And because of his mercy and because of his all efforts and hard work, what we are today and what we have achieved and what we have got from the ISKCON, we are aware that how much we have got from the scratches, from the dust. We have come to this stage that lakhs people became devotee. So everything, the credit goes to our Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada, because of him, this ISKCON movement, the Krishna conscious movement was started, and started in New York in July '66. So all these things we have to be very much grateful and thankful to our Srila Prabhupada, Param Guru Srila Prabhupada. So whatever I am going to discuss shall be based on the work of Srila Prabhupada, and that is the especially when the Bhagavad Gita as it is, based on that and his purport and his translation. So next point comes here. Why this Bhagavad Gita was spoken? We are all always aware and we know there was a great battle or war of Mahabharata in Kurukshetra, which is called Dharamkshetra, Kurukshetra. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, this big Mahabharata was done, and this was between the Kaurav and Pandav, that we also know. So we have to just try to understand the background of this Mahabharata in short, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We know that this Kaurav and Pandavas were the brothers, and there were 5 Pandavas headed by Yudhishthira, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, Sahadev, and there were hundreds sons of Dhritarashtra. They were called Kaurav. So there was a family fight, there was a family dispute, and the Duryodhan, who was not on the writer's side, he wanted to cheat Pandavas, because Pandavas were the official ruler for this Kuru dynasty because of his father Pandu. But because of some mischievous action, Duryodhan always tried to cheat and keep away this Pandav from this kingdom. So finally, there was a discussion that, okay, if Kaurav can give back to this Pandav Indraprasth, then they will be happy. But even this was not agreed by Duryodhan and his caucus. Finally, Lord Krishna, he went as a messenger and tried to pacify Duryodhan that you please give at least 5 blazes, because these 5 brothers are Kshatriya. Their duty is to rule. So if you give the 5 blazes also, they will be happy. But Duryodhan, who was very much in a wrong path, he wanted to cheat, and he said, no, not a single inch of land, even the land equal to the place which is the needle takes, the tip of the needle takes, that much land also, he says, will not be given without war, without yuddha. So finally, even after the efforts of Lord Krishna failed, it was jointly decided to have a fight, a yuddha. So with the intention of that yuddha, all these armies of Kaurav and Pandav and all these kings of this world, including Bharat and other countries also, they become either on side of Kaurav, and some came on the side of Pandav, and then everybody was gathered at the Kurukshetra to fight with this main battle. So when both armies were standing on the Kurukshetra field, and the Pandavas were there, and on the side of Pandava was Virat, and other great kings were there, Drishtadyuman, Panchal Naresh. And similarly on Kaurav side also there are so many kings were there, Shalya, Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, all this, and other various great kings were also there, Jarasandha. So all these armies were standing there just ready for fight. And you know that in this case of fighting, Lord Krishna was in Dwarka as a king of Dwarka. So both this Pandav and that means Arjun and Duryodhana approached Lord Krishna and they wanted help from Lord Krishna. So Krishna gave the choice. He said, one side my army will be there, that is a big army, Narayani Sena, and on the other side I will be alone and I will not lift any weapon also. So now choice is yours, whether you want to take my army or you can take me. So finally it was discussed and decided by this Duryodhana and Arjuna. Arjuna has taken Lord Krishna alone without any weapon. And the Duryodhana was very happy to take the Narayani Sena of Lord Krishna. So like this, the distribution of Narayani Sena and Lord Krishna was there, and Krishna came in the side of Pandav. In fact, he was always with these Pandavas because they were righteous. They were on the path of Dharma, while the other Kauravas and others, they were not on the path of Dharma. So Lord Krishna as the supreme, he always comes here to Paritranaya Sadhunam, Vinaya Sachudustam, Dharma Sanstana Panarthaya, Sambhavami Yuge. He comes to re-establish the Dharma, to protect the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. So accordingly, it was a right choice of Lord Krishna to be with Pandavas. So because he has promised that he will not take any weapon in this battle, so he decided himself to become charioteer. He became Sarthi of Arjuna. Arjuna was the Maharathi, and Krishna became Sarthi of that. He was driving the chariot. He became a driver. So, in the beginning of the battle, when both armies were standing in the Kurukshetra, and Lord Krishna was there as charioteer, and Arjuna was the Maharathi. So Arjuna told Lord Krishna that please take my rath in the middle of this, in front of the armies of Kaurav, and I want to see who have come to fight with me. He says, Senyor Vayor Madhe Ratham Stapam Echu. Hey Lord Krishna, please take my rath in front of Kaurav army so that I can see who have come to fight with me. So Lord Krishna immediately took the rath and he kept the rath in front of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. Intentionally, he kept the rath in front of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. And when Arjun has seen Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama, and other, his maternal uncle, his cousin brothers, uncles, nephews, then he became perturbed. He lost his equilibrium, and he became attached. He was in the illusion. Usko moh ho gaya. Moh ho gaya means he was attached to see that I had to kill my own people. I had to kill my grandfather. I played in his lap. Now I have to kill him. And my Guru Maharaj, Dronacharya, was there on that side. How I can kill? So he became perturbed and he said, how I can kill these people? So he became possessed by illusion. And he thought that I should not fight. So he told Lord Krishna, and he started giving so many arguments that, look, I cannot fight at this position because my Guru, my grandfather, and so many people are there. And if I kill them, what is the use of this kingdom? It will be covered with blood of this grandfather, Guru, and others. So he said, it is not good that I fight and kill my own people to take my kingdom back. So he became illusioned, perturbed, and he was not able to understand what is to be done. So all these things has generated Lord Krishna to speak about Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, you know, Bhagavad Gita is the song of Lord. Gita, Bhagavad, Bhagwan ka Geet, Bhagwan ka song of Lord. So those who understand it is a song of Lord Krishna, they understand it correctly. But there are so many other people, they understand this song, but they don't consider Krishna as the main supreme. They consider he is just like a normal person. So that is the difference our Srila Prabhupada has told. The basic thing is we have to understand that Krishna is the supreme speaker. He is the supreme. It is his song. So those who consider Bhagavad Gita without Krishna, they have not understood the Bhagavad Gita. But those consider Krishna as the supreme speaker, the supreme person, supreme personality of Godhead, they are the righteous people and they understand Gita. So it is very important to understand Gita, and generally it is advised that we have to understand Gita from bona fide spiritual master, guide, guru. We cannot study or understand Gita by our own intelligence. We have to take advice from our guru, parampara, acharya, and scripture. So the Gita was spoken in front of in that battlefield for about 45 minutes. And we know that starting from chapter 1, chapter 1 is just only description of armies who are there on that side, and they started their conch shell, they started blowing. And but the main Gita pravachana starts from chapter 2. So in chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, you know that Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they are both friends, very good friends, Sakha. So you know, when you are a friend of someone, the discussion between friend is not very serious. Friend advises, and you may agree, you may not agree. So this type of relationship was Sakha relationship was there in the beginning, when Krishna was there and Arjuna was there, and as a friend. So discussions were going on as advisory capacity. He was saying, you should not do like that. You should not try to think that we cannot fight now. This is not the time to think all these things. So Lord has tried to chastise Arjuna also, but in the meantime, Arjuna understood that he had given a lot of argument that I should not fight because of the soldiers will be killed, the men will be killed, the women will be free, they will mix freely, they will generate Varnasankar, Bhavichar, and then the forefathers will not get the water, Shrad. So all the things started argument. Those arguments are correct, but that was not the right time to discuss those arguments. So the point is, Krishna says, those things are very correct, but you should have discussed these things earlier, not now. Now when the bridegroom and bride are there, standing there for exchanging the garland, that time if bridegroom says, no, I will not marry. So what that is the situation is here. We have already, all the way has come here to fight, and there was no further scope to this to remove this or to avoid this battle. So now this time, at this moment, you cannot say. So like this, Krishna started preaching him. So before that, what Arjuna has done, Arjuna says in 2.7, chapter 2, verse number 7, he says, Karpanya doso apatsavava prichami tvam dharma sammura cheta yatse sya nishitam bruhitan me sisyate ham sadhi mam tvam prapanna. Very important point here. It is a turning point of Bhagavad Gita. He says, now I have become your disciple. He was friend. Now he has become disciple. So the discussion between friends is different, while the discussion with a disciple and a guru is different. It is a serious matter. The matter between disciple and guru is a serious matter. There is no advice, if and words. No. There was no thinking also. But in case of Sakha, friends, things are open. So when Arjuna says that I have become disciple, I am perturbed, I don't know what is to be done, I am not able to understand what is my duty at this time. So he says, I have surrendered to you, I become your disciple. You tell me what is good for me, what is to be done at this stage. So you have to understand that when this relation comes as a guru and disciple, guru and shishya, that matter is serious. So when Arjuna becomes shishya of Lord Krishna, Krishna has taken the position of a guru. And from 2.7, chapter 2, verse number 7 onward, the discussion between Lord Krishna and Arjun was a discussion between a guru and Shishya, not as a friend. So Krishna started preaching him, chastising him and preaching him. So from that period, the Bhagavad Gita started. And the real preaching started from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, slok number 11. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Asocyanam Sochastum, Pragya Vadans Bhashe, Gatha Suna Gatha Sunasya, Nano Sochanti Pandita. He chastised, Krishna chastised to Arjun. He said that you are talking like something like a big pandit, and you are doing lamentation, you are feeling grief. आप दुख कर रहे हैं उसके लिए जिसका दुख नहीं करने का है, और जिसके लिए दुख करने का उसके लिए दुख नहीं कर रहे हैं आप. That means he was trying that whatever Arjun you are thinking is not correct. So from here the chastising starts, the preaching starts. That is chapter 2, verse number 11. So now we will just try to revise about the history of Gita. Bhagavad Gita, as we know, it was spoken in this field of Kurukshetra by Lord Krishna for Arjuna. And it was spoken for 45 minutes. And number of verses were about 700 verses are there in the Bhagavad Gita. Number of chapters are 18. This literature comes under the Mahabharata, Itihas Puran, and under the Bhisma Parva. Duration of preaching was 45 minutes. Cause and relevance of today is very much relevant. The Gita is so important that even before 5,000 years was spoken, that was relevant at that time. Even today is also very much relevant, because Srila Prabhupada and other Acharya has always encouraged us. Whatever problems you are facing in the life, you can get the solution in the Bhagavad Gita. So that was the instruction of our Acharya and Srila Prabhupada and other Vaishnava. Now, Gita also discuss about process of acquiring knowledge. There is a process of acquiring knowledge. We know how to acquire the knowledge. There are three methods of acquiring knowledge. The first method is pratyaksh praman, direct perception. That means listening, whatever you can experiment and show, you give the evidence, pratyaksh praman. Then there is a anuman, inference. There's just an indication, it is ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो रहा है तो ऐसा हो सकता है. In anuman, inference. And the third is sabda praman. Sabda praman is the highest method by which the spiritual knowledge is covered. Sabda praman means listening from the bona fide, authentic person directly, and just try to grasp it, try to absorb it in your heart and your mind. This is called sabda praman. The example has been given. All spiritual knowledge is covered by sabda praman, not by experimental message or andaz se inference method. No, it is the method of sabda praman. Means Guru will say something and we have to just understand it and accept it. So the example of sabda praman is like a child wants to know, his father is not there at the moment, mother is there, he wants to know who is his father. So what is the best method to understand, to know his father? We cannot go to ask our neighbor, our uncles, our friends here and there, who is my father, who is my father? We cannot get the answer if we start doing like this. So the best method, the correct method is to go to mother and ask mother, mother, who is my father? Why? Because mother is the bona fide authentic person. So if we ask the bona fide authentic person, he gives some answer, mother gave some answer. And whatever answer is given by mother, we have to just accept it. We cannot ask mother, please give me proof, please give me evidence. That is not the correct. Similarly, when we discuss something from our guru, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Acharyas, they are saying something about spiritual matter. We cannot just question these matters. Why that? Why not that? Why this? We have to just accept it, because this is like mother is saying, child, so and so is your father. No more question, no more discussion, no more argument. Just accept it and start your journey further, because the journey has to start. We cannot use our life to find out who is my father. There is no use. You cannot go on checking DNA tests of all the people in the world. What is the use of that? Just accept the mother's version and start your journey of life. So this is called Sabda Praman method. So spiritual knowledge has to understand and accepted by the method of Sabda Praman. Now I will discuss about Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita covers 5 major subjects. Principal subject of Bhagavad Gita are 5. They are Jiva, the Ishwar, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. They are the 5 subjects of Bhagavad Gita, and Gita has covered all these 5 subjects very nicely in a very wonderful knowledge Lord Krishna has given. First is Jiva, Jivatma, we, soul. Second is Lord, who is Lord, Supreme, Ishwar. Third is Prakriti, nature. And the fourth is time, Kal. And last is Karma. What is Karma? Action. Karma, Vikarma, all these things. So these 5 subjects are nicely covered by Bhagavad Gita. So we have seen in the beginning of chapter that Arjuna has given different argument that I will not fight, like with compassion, no enjoyment, sinful reaction, Varna Sankar, all this indecisiveness. The most important point, he was not able to decide what is to be done at the stage, whether he has to fight and kill army of Kaurav or to be killed by them. He even says that I will just start begging, and rather than killing this my own people. So the main thing is indecisiveness, compassion and indecisiveness. And similar situation is ours also. We are also in the choraha of indecisiveness. We are not able to decide what is to be done in this state. So that's why Gita is very, very relevant to us also, because we are also perturbed, we are in illusion, we are not able to decide what is to be done. That's why Gita comes into a picture, and the Gita, Lord Krishna guides us. So this is the situation of Arjuna. Same situation is ours also. So we can always use Bhagavad Gita as a guidelines for our life. And we get the answers of all the problems of this world, whatever we are facing, we can get the solution of this problem. Mahatma Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave, and so many other, Dr. Radhakrishnan, so many learned people, Acharya, and they used to say that Bhagavad Gita has got solution to all the problems. If any problem is there, you go through the Bhagavad Gita, you will get the answer. So this is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, and that's why it is called the basics of law. It's a law book. When Lord has created the universe, he created all the Vedas, Puran, and all that. And Bhagavad Gita is also part of Itihas Puran, Mahabharata. So we have to understand Bhagavad Gita as our guide, our Bible, our law book. Now the second point, second chapter starts from here. So Lord tried to speak to Arjuna the basic thing of basic knowledge. What is that? The difference between body and soul. He wanted to tell Arjuna that you are worried that you are going to kill his Pitamaya, Dronacharya, all these people. But Lord says they are not there. This is their body. Unka sharir hai. They are not like that. They are really Atma, which is inside. So he thought that Arjuna is confused. He said, I will not kill Bhis Pitamaya. He said, he is not Bhis Pitamaya. This is his body. Bhis Pitamaya is inside, Atma. And you are not going to kill him because nobody can kill Atma. So he thought Arjuna to understand the difference between body and soul. So chapter 2 is very importantly discuss this. What is the difference between body and soul? And that is our also topic of today. We have to know who are we. Either we are body or we are soul. When a neophyte devotee comes to ISKCON, or a new person comes to ISKCON, we ask him, who are you? He starts telling, I am so-and-so, my name is so-and-so, my father is so-and-so, I am engineer, I am a doctor, I am a professor, I am a chartered accountant, all these things. So whatever we ask, he gives the answer with the intention to identify with the body. All indication towards his body. He is a boy, he is a girl, he is a man, he is a woman, he is an engineer, he is a professor, whatever. They are connected to body. That is the difference. That is the very important point, because this is the culture we have been told since the beginning, that you are a boy, you are intelligent, you are not intelligent, you are a fool, you are not handsome, you are ugly, you are white, you are black. All the things have been told to us from the beginning with the intention that we are body, we are body. So what happened? So by this culture, we become conditioned and we always think about us as a body. So Lord Krishna here wanted to correct us that look, all living entities, they are not body, they are real soul. So what he has told here? He described so many example he has given, Lord has given example here, and try to differentiate between body and soul. So we will also discuss something about what is the body, what are the properties of body, and what are the properties of soul. Then we can understand whether we are body or soul. Those who are aware about this, those who are senior devotees, they know. And when we ask the senior devotees, who are you? They will immediately say, we are living entity, we are soul, we are not. But those who are new, they will say, they will indicate, I am body, I am so and so, my name is so and so, my father. So we have to understand that those who are learned people, they understand this knowledge that we are not body. So why we have to understand like this? The example has been given in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. Very important chapter 2 is there. Now let us go to chapter verse number 13. Chapter 2 verse number 13. Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna. He is trying to explain Arjuna, look, you are not body, you are soul. And Bhishma Pitamaya, Dronacharya, whatever you are seeing in the army, they are bodies only. They are not, their soul is inside and soul cannot be killed. So what he says in chapter 2, verse number 13, Deheno vasmin tha dehe komaram yobnam jara tatha dehantar prapti dhires tatnam vayati. Lord says here, which is inside your body, that means soul. And the body is changing. How the body is changing? We were a small child, then we become grown, then become adult, then become much more adult than old, then become old age, then we become so much that we die. So what is changing? Lord says to Arjuna that body which is there and the soul is inside. Soul is not changing, the body is changing. So those who are intelligent and they are dhira, they are not disturbed by the change of body. Dehanta prapti dhiraj tatna moyati. The dhiraj people, dhari people, learned people, knowledgeable people will not be disturbed, perturbed by the change of body. Then he further says, 2.17, Avinasi tu tad viddhi ena sarvedamitam tatam vinasam abhyasya na kashid kartum arati. Again he was explaining to Lord, explaining to Arjuna that this body is vinas, is full of, it can be disturbed, it can be destroyed. But the inside body is the soul, the living entity, which we are really cannot be destroyed. Then further he says 2.18, Antavante me deha nittas yukta sarinaha anasano prames tasmad yuddhas bharat. He says this Antavante me deha, this sarir, this body has got the end, beginning and end both. But the inside is there, that is not, that is nitya. And then that's why if you are going to kill Bhishma Pitamaya, Dronacharya or your people, you are not going to kill them actually, you are only killing the body. So he said that's why don't worry and fight. Like this, so Krishna tried to make clear to Arjuna. Then he says, chapter 2, verse number 20, very important verse text. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita na bhuva ajo nitya saswatam purano na hanyate hanyamane sarire. He says that soul and body, again he's saying, na jayate mriyate va kadachin, there is no birth of soul. He is saying the property of soul. It was never in being. It is not going to be there. It is unborn. It is not going to die also. Na jayate mriyate. So this is the property of soul. While the property of body he has described here, that changes, it dies. Then again in chapter 2, verse number 22, he describes it, he gives the example of our garments, our vastra, our clothes with the sarir. Like the soul is inside, and our body is the one cover of soul. So here he says, chapter 2, verse number 22, Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaye navani grahati naroparani tatha sarirani vihaye jirnan anyani sanyati navani. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, look Arjun, your body is like a bastra, clothes. When our clothes are torn and broken and they become old, what do? We change the clothes and we take new clothes. So we are not worried about this. When somebody offers us, take new clothes and remove your old clothes, we become very happy. Okay, very nice. But similarly, this body is also clothes. When the clothes becomes old and torn of no use, when the body becomes of no use to enjoy, you know, the person who is dying, what happens to his body? The people are in ICU, not able to listen, hear, talk, eat. The body becomes useless. So what is to be done? The Lord has made the arrangement that the soul leaves the body and takes the new body. Like the new clothes we take, new clothes. So Lord has described very nicely this body like a clothes, and when the body becomes of no use, we change this body. So we have to very much clearly understand from here that we are not body, we are soul, and soul is anitya, soul is nitya, soul is eternal, while the body is not eternal, it is anitya. It is going to die, can be destroyed. So we always understand difference between living and non-living. Those who are living, we understand why they are living, because they are chetan, and those who are not living, they are jad. Jad means when we do something, there is no response. But Chetan means we ask something or we discuss something, there is a response. So that means Chetanta is there. Chetanta is there means the soul is inside, is there. Now next point comes, what is changing and what is not changing. We have just seen. Deno asminatha dehe komaram yobna jara tatha dehant prapti dhiras tatana moyati. 2.13. What is changing and what is not changing? The body is changing. In Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada has described the purport that there are 6 types of changes in our body. Our body, that means we take birth, then we grow, then we become adult and then produce the byproduct. Then we start dwindling, deterioration, and then we die. That means birth, grow, sustain, produce byproduct, dwindling, and the death. So this is the 6 type of change that takes place in all the bodies of all the animals, human, plants, everywhere. All these 6 changes takes place. And this 6 changes takes place because of the time factor. Lord has given the time factor, impregnated time factor, and because of time factor, this changes takes place. So, but the soul is not, there is no change in the soul. So what is changing? The body is changing and the soul is not changing. The example has been also given about the soul in chapter 2, verse number 23. Nenam shindanti shastrani, nenam dehati papakaha, na chainam kledanti apo, na shoshati maruta. Lord says to Arjuna, the property of soul. What he says? It cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon. Nenam shindanti nenam dehati papaka. It cannot be burned by fire. It cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be withered by air. This is the property of soul. Soul is that which is untouched by any development of material thing, while the body has got the changes. So that is the best example of difference between body and soul. Body is changing, but the soul is not changing. One more example has been given by our Acharya in our discussions. Like a car is there and the driver is there. Our body is like a car and the driver is soul. If driver is there, then the car will move. Similarly, when the soul is inside the body, it will move, it will work, it will respond. But if the driver is not there, the car will not move an inch. That means the body will not move an inch if the soul is gone. And that is called death. Now, our Acharya has described there are 3 types of body in our there are three types of body. There are three types of covers. We understand that whatever we see from the externally we are seeing the body. This is the external body. This is called gross body. सूक्ष्म स्थूल शरीर, ग्रॉस बॉडी. इसके अंदर में एक कवरिंग है सूक्ष्म शरीर, सटल बॉडी, एंड उसके अंदर में है सोल. सो देयर आर टू कवरिंग्स ऑन सोल. सोल इज देयर. द फर्स्ट कवरिंग इज सटल बॉडी and the outer covering is gross body. Now we have to understand from the scripture, the gross body is made of Panch Mahabhut: earth, water, fire, air, space. This Panch Mahabhut: earth, water, air, fire, and space, ether. These are the constituents of this outer body. So when we die, we leave our gross body here, and the Panch Mahabhut goes out and mixes with the Panch Mahabhut. Like earth goes to earth, water goes to water, air goes to air, fire goes to fire, space goes to space. That's the death. The body deteriorates, decays. So when somebody dies, they burn or they bury, but the body just goes back to the Panch Mahabhut. That is gross body, स्थूल शरीर, what we are seeing. Under this, another cover is there. That is called subtle body. Subtle body is made of also made of material things, but they are a subtle form. They are not sthul form, not gross form. That means we cannot see from our eyes. While the gross body we can see, the subtle body we cannot see. But they are still made of material elements. It is said that they are made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. The subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Mind means man, intelligence buddhi, and false ego is the ahankar, but which is not true. Fails ahankar which is not true. So these are the things constituents the subtle body. Now and under that there is a real soul body. So there are three types of body: gross body, subtle body, and soul. The soul has got two coverings. It has been described earlier in the scripture. Then when we die, the gross body remains here, and subtle body and soul goes according to our past, our karma and the reactions, whatever we have done, punya and pap. The subtle body goes with the soul and takes another body. Like we take the new clothes. After the old cloth is gone, we take new clothes. So subtle body goes and takes the another body. So that is, but this is gross body and subtle body, both are made of material things. The gross body items are also material, like earth, water, fire, air, space is also material. The subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego is also a material thing. But the soul is not of material thing. The constitution of soul is, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Mame Vanso Jeev Loke, Jeev Bhuta Sanatana. He says that all the Jivatmas are by part. And we know who is Lord, who is Lord, who is the Supreme. And what is the Vigraha of Supreme? In Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma prayed, Israha Parama Krishna, Sachidanand Vigraha, Anadi Adi Govinda, Sarv Karan Karanam. That means his Vigraha is Satchit Anand, Sachidanand. Sachidanand means Sat, Satat, eternal, Chit, full of knowledge. Anand means full of bliss. Because we soul are also parcel of Lord Krishna. Mame Vanso Jeev Loke. So the soul is also Sachidanand. That means the constitution of soul is Sat Chit Anand. Though it is a part of Krishna, but the quality is same. So what is the difference between Lord Krishna and our soul? Lord is Vibhu, we are Anu. Lord is like a big fire, like a big ocean, but we are like a spark or like a drop of ocean. But the quality wise we are same, but the quantity wise we are different. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this principle, propagated this principle of Achintya Bheda Ved Tattva. He said we are same with the Lord and we are different also with the Lord. This is a very typical and interesting phenomena that we are same also and we are different also. But the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to say that we are same in quality while we are not same in quantity, like ocean and drop. like a fire, big fireball, and a spark. So this is the difference between body and soul. So we have to understand that we are not body, we are soul. And the two coverings, gross covering and subtle coverings, are made of material things, while the soul is not made of material things. It is made of spiritual thing, Satchidanand. And spiritual things we cannot see. We cannot even see the material, this subtle body also we cannot see. What to talk about spiritual body? For if you want to see spiritual things, but spiritual platform, we want to see Lord also, we can see if we have got the spiritual indriya. By this indriya, we cannot see and we cannot interact with Lord. But when we rise to the higher platform, we can see the Lord by these spiritual eyes. So these three bodies we have to understand. And the next question, next point comes. It has been described here, the comparison between the body with our chariot. You know, ratha. A rath has got 5 horses, and one driver is there, and he has the lagam, the ropes, and the passenger sitting at the back of the rath. So this simile has been described here as the body. Like body has got the 5 senses. They are like 5 horses. Lagam is the controller of the senses. The information from the horses goes to the lagam, through lagam to driver. So lagam is like a man, and driver is like intelligence, buddhi. And the person who is sitting inside the behind the chariot, that is on the chariot as a passenger, he is the soul. So this simile has been described here very nicely. It has described the Katha Upanishad, and also Srila Prabhupada had described this in the purport of chapter 6, verse number 34. What he says that the 5 horses are 5 indriyas. The lagam is our mind, man. The buddhi is our driver, intelligence. And the person sitting in the chariot is the passenger. So when the horses are under control of by lagam to the driver, the chariot will go nicely on the smooth road, and the passenger will enjoy. But if the horses are not under control, they may take you on the downs, up and down, on the rough road. And what will happen? The passenger will be disturbed, perturbed. That is the position of us. If our mind is not under control, our senses are agitated, they are going straight. What will happen? We have to bear the problems. We have to face this music. Why this the chariot is going in the rough direction, wrong direction? But if it is under control, it will take you to the Lord. So mind is very important. So from here we can discuss what is the function of mind. So from here we have to understand one thing, that mind is very, very important for everybody, for all living entities, especially human beings. So mind, which is the very important part, is one of the senses. Lord says that this is one of the senses. So mind is controlling the senses. All the information is collected by senses. Our eyes, ear, nose, tongue, skin. So all this information is collected by the senses, and the information is given to our mind. And mind gives this information to intelligence, buddhi. And buddhi analyzes. Mind just collects information and it becomes a storehouse. And then intelligence, buddhi, analyzes what is required, what is to be done. And then accordingly, if the buddhi is under your control, it is the righteous buddhi, it is a buddhi under the guidance of Guru, Parampara, then it will take the right decision. And your chariot, your rath will go nicely, smoothly, and this mind will take us to Lord Krishna. But if his mind is not under control, this whole chariot will go haywire. It will go in a wrong path, disturbed, perturbed, and we will fall down into the hell, fall down to the Maya, and we will be entangled more and more and more. So mind becomes very important factor here. So we have just discussed now what is the difference between body and soul. We are not body, we are soul. And there are two coverings on the soul. One is subtle body, one is gross body. And gross body and subtle body are made of material things, while the soul is not made of material things. It is spiritual. It is the same quality as Lord, Sachidanand. So we are not body, we are soul. So in case of this fight of battlefield, now you can understand. Lord Krishna wanted to say that you are not going to kill Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya or anybody. You are going to kill their body only. They cannot be killed. Bhishma Pitama cannot be killed. He is soul. He is like a prakash, light. So you are not supposed to worry about. Just kill them, because I have already decided to kill them. So you kill their body. You will just cut their body. So that is the very important instruction Lord has given, that don't worry about this. You are not going to kill souls. You are only going to kill the bodies, which are already going to be killed by me. So anyway, you become instrument and kill them. Because I have already killed, because they become on the wrong path, adharma path. They were on the adharma path. The person on adharma path in the field of battlefield, he has to be killed by Lord. Because Lord says, Pratranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskatam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yogi yogi. So he comes for killing and annihilating the miscreants, those who are not on dharma path. So he has to kill all the Kaurav. On the side of all the Kaurav, he has to kill. So he says, Arjun, you become instrument and kill them. I am telling you, just I am ordering you. So this we'll understand from Bhagavad Gita. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, when Lord has given all these pravachan or preachers, he has given all sort of all the Gyan, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, everything he has given. And then finally he says, I have given Bhakti Yoga also. So he said, what is good for you, please do yourself. But then again, after some time, he said, no, whatever I am saying, you listen to that. I am giving you the most secret knowledge. And he says, whatever I am saying, you follow that. Sarv dharman partyaj, mamekam saranam braj, aham tvam sarva papyabhyo, mokshishami machacha. Lord says, finally, you don't worry, you forget everything. Whatever I have told, karmyo, jnano, dhyano, just come and surrender to me. So the crux of Bhagavad Gita is we have to surrender to Lord Krishna, nobody else. Mam ekam saranam braj. He says, only me. ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम उसको भी सरेंडर करो, इसको भी करो, उसको भी करो, ऐसा नहीं. Mam ekam, only me. You come and surrender to me only. Then what I will do? I will remove all your sins. मैं सारे पापों से तुमको मुक्त कर दूंगा. So that is the guarantee of Lord Krishna. So with this, we can understand what is the purpose of Gita and why Lord wanted to tell Arjuna the difference between body and soul. And he says, what is the instruction? What instruction he has given? That just kill them. I've already killed them. You become instrument. So what is to be done? When a good Shishya, a disciple, he has to follow the instruction of Guru and just do whatever Guru says. Not to question and argument. That is not the right thing of a disciple. Tad vidhi pranipatena paripasena sebhya updekshanti jnanam jnanina tad darshana. How to approach Guru? 4.34. We have to approach Guru with the humble, like pranipatin, doing the dandvat, become humbly. We have to inquire and very humbly. And whatever Guru says, we have to accept it and follow it. So that's the way of getting the spiritual knowledge. So now this part 1 is over. Now part 2, to know your mind. Because we have discussed mind is very important. So let us discuss what is mind. The scripture says the condition of mind is of 2 types. Either mind is in our control or mind is not in our control. So for that we have to refer Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse number 6. In Gita, Lord has described that the mind is flickering, and when it is not under your control, it is out of your control. What harm will be there, and what damage it can be done. So Acharya has described this, if the mind is under your control or not under your control. So what is the mind? It says mind is like storehouse. Whatever thoughts is coming, mind is the storehouse. It records all the thoughts. Whatever we have done in the past, all the karma, all are recorded here. So mind can be, if it is under your control, it can be your friend. If it is not under your control, it becomes your greatest enemy. This has been described here. Example has been given, like a knife, big knife is there. And you know this, the purpose of knife. If the knife is given in the hands of a surgeon, what he will do? He will perform the operation and he will save the life of a person. If the same knife is given to a miscreant, a thief, or a murderer, what he will do? He will murder. He will do some mischief only. So whose fault is it? Is the fault of knife, or is the fault of the person who is using it? Naturally, it is the fault of the person who is using it. Similarly, mind. If mind is under control, it will be operating a person and giving the life. But if it is not under control, it is like a job of miscreants. It will harm others also. So if it is under your control, it is the best friend. But if it is not under your control, it is the greatest enemy. It has been described in chapter 6. Verse number 5. Chapter 6, verse number 5. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. When it is friend and when it is enemy, when it is under your control, it will take you to Lord. Because mind is required to carry on this chariot, this ratha, this body towards Lord. You have to perform some duty. A mind is required. But it should be under your control. It has been also described the mind is like a recorder. It records all the information. Now, to analyze the mind, it has got three functions. Mind has got three functions. What are the three functions? Thinking, willing and feeling. We start thinking, कुछ विचार आते हैं. And then start billing. Billing means we think that what we require. Thinking is different and billing is different. We choose out of that. Something, what are these so many thoughts are coming, we select one, billing. And then after accomplishing that action, we feel. That's the function of mind. Thinking, billing and feeling. But then there is a buddhi. What is the function of buddhi? All the information comes through the senses, are collected by mind, and then mind gives this information to buddhi, intelligence. And what is the function of a buddhi, intelligence? The function of intelligence is to differentiate hot and cold, good, bad, sweet, sour. All differentiation is done by buddhi, intelligence. Then it takes decision, what you want. Whether you want a sweet thing or a sour thing or something. So decision is taken by intelligence. And then after taking decision, determine to do it. So there are three functions of intelligence. Buddhi. What are the functions? Differentiation, determination, decision and determination. So the function of buddhi is differentiation, decision, and determination. We have to determine to accomplish some job. If we are not determined, then the job will not be accomplished. So sometimes what happens, there is a fight between mind and intelligence, between man and buddhi. Man says, start thinking, feeling, and feeling. But on the other side, the buddhi starts differentiating, then take decision and become determined. So what is happening? At the end, with determination and feeling, there's a fight between mind means feeling and buddhi means determination. Sometimes when we are attached to our beloved one, our own people, then there's an emotion factor comes into picture. And because of emotion feeling, we ignore the right things, right duty, our kartabya. So that is the difference here. If your mind is more powerful and it is heavy, like a in its controlling position, then the feeling overcome the determination, and we are not able to do a right thing, though it is right. But the buddhi says it is right, you have to do, but because of non-determination, the mind overcomes and the feeling takes place, and we do something wrong. But when we follow the intelligence, the determination is there. No, this is wrong. If something bad thing has been done by my own relatives or my son or my somebody, I have to accept it. Like example has been given here, a judge. He used to give life imprisonment, death penalty to so many people in the life. Once एक बार क्या हुआ? His son came as a culprit. Judge son of judge came as a culprit. He had done some murder, and he was produced with the judge. The judge said he has done the murder, so I should not give him a death penalty, because by giving death penalty he will not be corrected. It is not good. That means when his son came, he started talking some philosophy. He started talking philosophy. Something, this is not good, that is not, death is not good, death penalty should be removed, all that. But before his son came, he was very coolly giving punishment to people, life imprisonment, death. But when his son came as a culprit, victim, he said something wrong. This is not correct. This is not correct. That means there is a factor of emotion, attachment, moha, and that is the same thing has happened with the Arjuna also. He become attached. He become perturbed that they are my people. But this is not the first time that Arjuna has fighting a battle. Arjuna has fought many battles. He defeated even Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya many times when he was in the Virat Desh. They all attacked to Virat Desh. Then Arjuna faced them and defeated them many times. So this is the first time that Arjuna was fighting. But because he was possessed by his own people, attachment, moha and illusion, he was started thinking that I should not fight. So same thing here. When the buddhi says determine something strongly, if you don't be determined to do it, it will not be done. Otherwise, the mind will overcome and the feeling will overcome, and you will do something wrong. Now, I will just tell you the mechanism of mind, how this mind and buddhi are mechanized and how they are functioning. All the information are collected by the eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin, all the five senses, and the information is given to mind. Mind is a storehouse of thoughts, our unfulfilled desire, previous experience, all things are collected in a storehouse, that is the mind. And then mind gives this information to intelligence, and intelligence analyzes the things and decide what is to be done. So this is the function of, if your mind is very under your control, it will give the right information to buddhi, and buddhi will take the right decision, and we will be in position to follow the right path. Now, we take example of Bhagavad Gita about the mind. Because Lord says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, Lord says in the Dhyan Yoga, what is to be done? He says we have to perform Dhyan Yoga. And that means in Dhyan Yoga, we have to sit in the forest straight with your head straight, neck straight, and then we have to concentrate on something, some object. So this is the position of how to do the yoga. But then Arjuna says in 6.34 that Lord, you have described how to do Dhyan Yoga. But Dhyan Yoga is not possible for me. I cannot do Dhyan because you want me to control your mind. You said you have to control your mind, then do the Dhyan. If the mind is controlled, then easy to do Dhyan. But the problem is mind. Mind is not under control. So how we can do Dhyan? So Arjuna says to Krishna in 6.34, he says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, pramadi balbadranam, tasyaham nigrah manne vayurib duskram. Arjuna says to Krishna, you are asking me to control your mind and then come for Dhyan. But that means I cannot do Dhyan because my mind is not under control. My mind is very flickering. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Hey Krishna, this mind is very chanchal, flickering. Pramadi balbadra is very dhrashta hai, बहुत powerful hai, जिद्दी है. Tasyam nigrah manne, and I cannot control this mind. He says, Vayuriv suduskram. He says, even I can control the wind. He's giving example that even I can control the wind, which is impossible to control, but he says, I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind because it is very flickering. The example has been given, mind like a monkey, doesn't sit any place. Start doing something, always active. Similarly, mind is always active. You cannot control the mind. So Arjuna says here, Lord, I cannot control the mind. It is very flickering. And you say you do Dhyan and come up to control the mind. That is not possible. Then Krishna gives the answer in 6.35, chapter 6, verse number 35. He gives the solution. What is to be done? Lord says in 6.35, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Asansaya Mahabaho, Mano Durnigam Chalam, Abhyasentu Konteye, Vairagyam Chagrati. Lord says to Arjun, hey Arjun, you are very correct. Undoubtedly, asansayam, undoubtedly it is very difficult to control the mind. Lord accept whatever Arjun says, it's difficult to control the mind. Krishna also says, yes, I agree. You are right. It is very difficult to control the mind, but he says there is a solution how to control the mind. And that solution has been given by Lord Krishna in chapter 6, verse number 35 to all of us. And what he says, असंशयम श्री भगवान उवाच असंशय महाबाहो मनो दुर्निगम चलम अभ्यासेन तो कौनते ये वैराग्यम च बहते. He says, Arjun, you are right. It's very difficult to control the mind. I know, I understand. But there is a solution how to control the mind. He says, Lord says, you can control your mind by abhyas and vairag. So what is abhyas and what is vairag? These are the two important words and sabda. Abhyas and vairag. Now we will discuss what is abhyas and what is vairag. So it is very clear that if you want to control your mind, you have to follow the principle of abhyas and vairag. Abhyas means practice, something to be practiced, and vairag means something to detach. In many classes, the neophyte devotee comes and they say, Prabhuji, when we chant the mala on this bead, our mind runs away here and there. Mind bhagta hai idhar, udhar bhagta hai, idhar bhagta hai. We are not able to concentrate. Yes, this is true. This is a property of the mind. It is a flickering. It runs away from here and there. When we are concentrating on something, mind will go somewhere else. Suppose we are sitting in the class, listening to a teacher, but mind is somewhere else. We are not able to understand what his teacher is saying. So, abhyas. Lord says, yes, mind is very flickering. I agree. What is to be done? You have to do practice. That means mind भागता है, फिर पकड़ के लाओ, फिर भागता है, फिर पकड़ के लाओ, फिर भागता है. ऐसे करते 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 एक दिन ऐसा आएगा कि your mind will start following your instruction. You become controlled by you. Abhyas, practice. Practice makes people perfect. You know. Anybody Like when we learned the bicycle in the beginning, the childhood, we were not able to start bicycle in the first day. We fall down so many times because practice was not there. When we became, after doing a lot of practice, now we are able to ride the bike without any problem. Sometimes even we are not worried where we are going, how we are going. The bicycle is going on. We are listening song. So practice makes the person perfect. So here also Lord says, practice, abhyas, abhyas. And second thing is vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. What is detachment? In the from the eternal time, our mind is connected to body, connected to material things, sense enjoyment, sense gratification. That is the habit of our mind. From millions and millions life, we have been attached to the material things. We have enjoyed all these things in the life, sense gratification. That's why mind habit is to go towards sense enjoyment. So that is our mind is attached to sense gratification, our senses. But what we have to do, we have to detach from there. Lord says, vairagya. Vairagya means you detach your mind from your senses, the sense subject, like subject of eye, roop, rang, swad, spars, sugandh, dhvani. This subject we have to detach from our mind from this subject. And where we have to keep, we have to put this mind unto the service of Lord. That is called detachment from sense objects and bring it to connected to Lord. This is the process of detachment. So when we do detachment from material things, sense gratification, sense enjoyment, detach from there slowly. It cannot be possible in one day. We have to start practicing, listening, eating, thinking, touch. All the things we have to start slowly detaching from the material thing and putting towards Lord. Detachment from one side and putting the senses towards Lord. That is the practice. If you do this practice, our mind will be totally controlled one day. It will not be done in one day. It will take time, but the practice we have to follow. And our Acharya in Parampara, Guru Parampara, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, all people, Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON, he said, when we want to join ISKCON, he says, when we have taken Diksha, our Guru Maharaj has told, we have to do 16 rounds minimum chanting every day on bead mala. And this which mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This chanting we have to do. And then he says further, you have to follow 4 regulating principles. Now, what are the 4 regulating principles? 4 regulating principles means 4 things which are not to be done. We have to avoid. And what are the 4 things? No meat eating. First is no meat eating. Second is no intoxication. Third is no gambling. And fourth is no illicit sex. That means no masahar, no nasa, no jua, no bevichar. Per stri, per purush, gaman, no. So these are the 4 things which we have to follow. This is the instruction of our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada in our parampara. And whosoever comes in ISKCON, our parampara, our Guru, Siksha, Diksha, they always advise us to follow these 4 regulating principles. So this 4 regulating principles will help you for the vairag. They are the method of vairag. That means if you don't do these 4 things, automatically our mind will be away from this sense gratification. So we have to follow these 4 regulating principles. And then what is to be done? We have to chant. Every day we have to chant minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that is the practice. So Lord says abhyas and vairagya. Abhyas means you do the practice of chanting, coming to temple, association of devotee, reading books of Lord Srila Prabhupada, distribution of books, eating prasad, offering prasad, all this, going to dham. So these things are sadhana bhakti. So this will help you as a practice. And what is to be done there? Vairagya, you have to detach from these 4 things which are not recommended by our parampara for becoming pure devotee, become a devotee. So by these four things, Vairagya, and by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these, if we start following these two things, Abhyas and Vairagya, we are sure that as per the instruction of our Acharya, we will be in position to control our mind very nicely. And this is not only a theoretical thing, it is a practical prescription given by doctors of our ISKCON, our Acharya. It is a proven track. Many people, thousands and thousands of people have converted into, from hippie to happy, they become devotee by this practice and abhyas and vairagya. So this is not a new thing. Srila Prabhupada has told from the beginning, our Acharya has told, our parampara is telling, our Shiksha Guru, Guru Ji, and Diksha Guru, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, everybody is saying us to do the practice of chanting Harinam, follow the regulating principle, and devote all of our time, all of our senses to be used in the service of Lord. This is the best example how to control this mind. Use your senses in the service of Lord. The best example is Parikshit Maharaj. The example is also Ambrish Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj used to do all the senses to be utilized in the seva of Lord Krishna. His hands, his legs, service of Lord, his ears, listening katha, his tongue, eating prasad, his nose, smell of flowers offered on Lord. His mind is used to think about Lord. His head bow down to the Lord. So all the senses he was using, Amrish Maharaj was using for the service of Lord. That is the best way how to detach and put the senses into the seva of Lord. So if we do this, if we utilize our senses in the seva of Lord Krishna, in our temple, in our house, we can make our house as a temple, offer prasad, and we become the servant of Lord. Lord is eternal. We are also eternal, and our relationship with Krishna is also eternal. And what is the relationship? We are eternal servant of Lord Krishna. We are eternal servant of Lord Krishna, and we have to serve Him, love Him. And for that, when we do this, ultimately, Lord will be happy, our Guru Parampara will be happy, and we will be allowed to enter into the kingdom of Lord, that is the Golok Vrindavan Dham. And that is the object of every one of us, to go to Golok Vrindavan Dham and stay there forever, happily, eternally. Thank you very much. With this, I stop here, and if some mistake I have done, please forgive me. I try to do whatever I know later from my Shishya Guru and other parampara. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If any comments or question is there, we'll take for a few minutes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, so far Bhagavad Gita is concerned, you have been taking a 3-day Bhagavad Gita course. So you have a good mastery over that. And it was perfectly given how we should control our mind and all that. In between, of course, one shloka you missed. That was when Lord Krishna is advising Arjuna about the soul and the body. So there is shloka, chapter number 2, shloka number 12, after Ashocha Anvashocham. Natveva ham jatu nasyam, naton neme janadiva, na chaiva napar bhavishyama, sarve vayam ataparam.
Yes, actually means, from 2.11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 20, 22, 20, all these slokas are there, which are regarding body and soul.
Yes.
Oh, yes, there are so many slokas are there.
So he advises,
time is limited.
Yes.
So we have to just choose.
Very well done, and at a short notice.
Thank you, Guruji. I just wanted to fill the gap because our Guru, Shiksha Guru is not there. Gopalkrishna Prabhuji is not there. So just, and this is the very important point because we have to remember the basics also. And because people are already aware, so we have to revise. And those who are new, they can understand, but this we have to revise all the things, the basics. Law book. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else? Chant Hare Krishna, we will close the YouTube.
Any comments?
Chant Hare Krishna, we will.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
शिला प्रभुपाद की जय,
Jai.
इसके रुद्रनाथ प्रभु जी की जय,
Jai.
समस्त भक्त बिंद की जय.
Jai.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, थैंक यू माता जी.